Hey everybody, I just did a complete lecture and I had failed to hit the record option. So I'm going to go back and repeat a few things. So in this particular, the next topic, we're going to talk about materials, models, and textures. So when you want to texture something, you will create a material for your game object, and your game object is a model. That's all it is, a mesh object. It's a mesh object, and I go over that in your lecture material. So let me just back it up. So I do go over this. These are the faces. So when you look at a mesh object, there's usually some kind of a face. Sometimes they're quads, they're square, sometimes they're triangles. I've never ever seen a circle. I've seen something that looked like a hexagon, but I don't know if that was on a mesh object. Then I talk about you can play around with one I created many years ago in some software that was not quite as powerful as some of these newer ones out, but you're more than welcome to use that. And when I do the lecture, I compare it to another mesh object that I found on the Unity Asset Store. So you can use the mushrooms provided, or you can find something on the Unity Asset Store, or you can use your own mesh. If you've already created something in a 3D modeling application, use it. Use your own work. Then I talk about how to bring these files into your Unity project. So in the Unity project, you're asked to create some folders. So I just right click, create folder. I'm going to name this one scripts because we're going to have some scripts pretty soon. So that's how you create a folder. You right click, create folder. Same way to create some material. You can see this material has had textures added to it. One texture and one normal map. And the normal map gives that kind of bumpy look, gives it that illusion that if you were to touch it, you would feel the bumps. So to create a material, same way, right click, create material. And you'll create something, it'll say new material, so you'll want to change that name. And that particular one earlier, I named it Shroom. This one, I think I'll name, guess. I'm going to name it Test, because I don't know what it's going to be. So you get a material, and over in your inspector window on the right-hand side is where you can add a texture, a normal map, a height map, all kinds of things. Occlusion gives it more shiny, shadowy kind of a look. So that's all that there. So that's the Unity part of it. Then I speak about creating, So then I talk about textures. And I provide to you different ways to create textures. One is with a free application called GIMP, very Photoshop-like. Next one is called Wood Workshop. It's another free one you can download. You create wood-type textures. Then there's Pattern Cooler. It's an online site to help create patterns. And then there's Photoshop itself. Please note, when you're creating a texture, you want to keep that 2x2 rule. You want to make sure it's 512 by 512, 1024 by 1024, 2048 by 2048, etc. So those are important. So after I've done all that, there are two assignments for this topic. One's a discussion board. Please note, it states right here, this assignment information will be added to the Adobe Sparks page. Provide the updated link for your classmates. That's the way it's going to work. So you need to do that. Then you're going to look at the Creative Commons area. Right here, there's a link. You can right-click on it and open a new tab. Check it out. Then you're going to pick one, because you have to create 3 textures. You're going to pick one of your textures and you're going to say, hey, this is what I'm going to choose for my Creative Commons attributes. So you'll understand that. And I did a little example here. So right now, I'm going to copy this because I didn't place that in my Sparks page. So what I did in the Sparks page that I didn't do earlier was I created an assets area where every time I add something, I'm going to place it here. So I added the mushroom to my project by Ruth Alsobrook-Hurick, and I added some textures by Ruth Alsobrook-Hurick as well. So for my discussion, I'm going to go ahead and paste that information right here. So this is my discussion. So this is my image, and I choose this because I have no problem with people, using what I have and putting their spin on it. I use pretty much everything for education or personal use. So if someone else can make it better, by golly, go for it, So that's what I use, and I state that. And then along those lines, you have 2 other textures you should have created. So I say, along with this texture, I also created, and then blah, blah, blah. I'll talk about it. Created the crate normal. And then I took a screenshot in run mode of my beautiful assignment, because in the assignment, so in the assignment, I ask for a image of your stuff, and I ask for your textures. So I need your textures, and I need to see that those textures are within a texture folder. So I came over here, and I'm going to show you one time here, just to make sure Ruth can see those textures in that folder. I'm going to open up that texture folder, show it over here, type into my search option. I'm on a Windows, so down at the bottom it says type here to search. So I'm going to type snip, and snip opens up my snipping tool, but it doesn't look like this. So let me close this because I already did that. Sorry folks. So I come over and grab that snip tool. This is what a new snip tool looks like. So you say new, right? Then you get these crosshairs, and you just click and drag. Bam! So this image is not going to be any good because I asked for the image to be in run mode. This is not in run mode. So I'm going to minimize that, put this in run mode, and tell you a little story about lining up your image. So as you can see, this is what I'm looking at, but when I select run, something different appears. Now maybe I want this to be what appears and not this. So what I do is I get my scene all lined up, and I grab my main camera, and I go game object align with view. So now when I'm in run mode, I have that same view. So now I can come back over to my snippet, grab that scene like it's supposed to be, show Ruth everything she needs to see, file, save as, and save that baby right into my projects folder. And I just named it MMT Capture. So you're going to put it in your Sparks page, so it doesn't matter. That, my friends, is everything you need to know for now, and hopefully it all worked out since I double lectured it.